Go on.
Welcome back. Good, I say good weekend, but it's been pretty poor for
Come on, Plymouth.
Liverpool losing to Plymouth. George, Chelsea are out as well,
Yeah, no, we were shocking.
and
Future is
Deservedly out.
green.
it's only United who are still in it out of us. Even
With a dodgy offside goal and a goal line. Was it? Did they have a dodgy goal line technology thingy as well?
well, it
No,
wasn't.
no, that was Newcastle
It was
against Birmingham.
Newcastle. Getting my
Uh,
games mixed up, aren't I?
that was a Maguire.
I mean,
I wouldn't even say
uh, uh,
Fergie time, right?
okay, let's just get that out of the way. He's clearly offside. How even a linesman couldn't see that when it's static, right? Everybody's standing still. It's not like there was any movement from the start
Yeah.
before the ball was kicked throughout. There was
If
it wasn't
there's and
Maguire. It's a half their
yeah,
team was offside.
it's a Premier League ground. Why don't they just have the
I mean,
VAR?
that's a whole different argument, right? Like, but they want it to be equal to
I
all
mean,
the
I'm a
matches.
hater of VAR, but I think for offsides is one area I think just have automated VAR,
But
simple,
then,
like
but
Yeah,
Champions
then,
League.
but
I
No
then,
other
agree. I mean,
VAR
but
be
then
happening.
my argument would be if it was okay, Plymouth Liverpool, there is no VAR function there to be done. So why have it at one place and not another?
Well, that's a fair point, but no, I don't like VAR anyway, so I'm not going to stand up for it.
Yeah.
but all I'll say is, I I think I know why the goal was given. I think the linesman was so bored. He was like, I can't watch this for another 30 minutes. Whoever scores, I'm just going to give it,
Yeah,
screw it. And
it does.
that's
You
fine.
know what? It does take you back to makes you think. United were good pre VAR, pre goal line technology and everything when the refs could just dictate the game. Does make you think it was all down to that ultimately.
No, it doesn't make you think that, but okay, if it makes you
Well, it
think that,
does. Yeah, it's Sir Alex Ferguson in the
So,
referees
which
here.
is why they named it Fergie time, right?
Yeah,
It was,
essentially, it's proven what we all thought. The Premier League
yeah,
gave
this,
United those titles,
yeah,
essentially.
exactly.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll go with that. Yeah, all right, yeah, sure.
yeah,
Anyway, moving
exactly. I'm
on.
glad you agree.
We were
do you know
crap.
what? I am gonna move on, and something different today is probably your best player in the Premier League so far.
Best player
Ooh,
or biggest surprise?
I'm gonna start off with best player.
Best player. Go on, Cully.
I've got two. Am I allowed two? Or is it just one?
You can go for two. Go on then.
You
Well,
got to
it
pick
wasn't
one
a surprise.
ultimately.
One wasn't a surprise to me because I thought it was nuts that he was allowed. We all these Dutch players were coming and we weren't going to get him. And Gravenberch, I know I'm going back, but Ajax, I know all the other players are good at Ajax or not, but Gravenberch, Gravenberch was different gravy, and the guy's really showing it. He's one, and he's a bit old fashioned as well because he gets box to box as well. Do you get what I mean? He's not just I'm a defensive midfielder. Like he brings. He's a bit old fashioned that way. And the other one is the one that I've enjoyed actually is Tonali at Newcastle.
Oh no, that's a way full shout.
Ah,
That
wow.
no,
He's
Yeah,
that's not.
he
I
was
think
he
him.
was he was
Yeah,
banned for a long time as
I
well.
mean, nobody would have bet that he'd come back
no,
and do so well,
that's
right? But
look. Look. Let's get this straight. He's done well for that 9 game run. Newcastle were good, but best player in the Premier League.
I didn't say best player in the Premier League. I said I'm enjoying watching him.
I said the question was best player in the Premier League, and you said Tonali.
I said Gravenberch, and I said, and who I enjoy watching is Tonali.
So Gravenberg. We didn't
Gravenberch.
ask for the second bit, did we? Um,
Ooh,
Yeah.
I am going Cole. No, I won't go Cole Palmer, even though he's been great. Um,
He's died off. He's died off. Lost.
have died off, haven't we? We've gone on a wobble, and that's part of it, obviously. But
he's only
I
good in
think
a winning team.
the obvious answer is Mo Salah,
Yeah,
which
I
is,
agree.
I mean, he has gone up a level this season. He's been fantastic. Liverpool at the top of the league. So I think it's difficult to argue with that. So he would be the one. But I think for me, every time I watch that Liverpool side, the player that I think they would be so much worse without is Van Dijk. And I think he's actually the keystone to that team. And he's so important. And if he wasn't there...
Players, it kills me. I mean, it is the Premier League, but it just kills. But Salah's got, he's got, as I call it, Adebayo-litis or Rashford-litis. Contracts coming up. You have the season of your life. Get the contract. Put your feet up.
He has gone off the boil a little bit recently.
But
he always
do you know what? Funny, Cully mentions, but it happened last time, right? When he was signing up a new contract, got that pay rise, and then flaked off.
But then also Salah always dips off second half of the season. It doesn't matter.
He always has a dip every season.
He always dips off second half of the season. Yeah. But Van Dijk, every game, week in, week out, he's just rock solid.
Is it that Van Dijk is so good, right? Or as a player, or is it that his leadership makes everyone else better?
Well,
I think he makes everyone else better.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's actually a bigger thing to me. He's not just about him. I don't think he's as great as everyone makes out to be. But
that's a part of greatness.
One thing he's brilliant is it's part of greatness. He makes everyone else better. He just gives everyone else that confidence.
Yeah, because if you'd say the only position Liverpool have had injuries is that centre back role, and they've had to bring Gomez in at times. They've had to bring Quansha's not played much, but he's played there a couple times. Konate was obviously out for a bit, and that's why. But those two together are formidable. But when Konate was injured, I thought, oh, are they going to struggle here? Because the next centre back is a large step down, I'd say. But they didn't. They didn't struggle, and I think that's credit to obviously Slot, but Van Dijk as well. How he can take somebody on board and he can just say, look, this is what we're doing. Let's sort this out. We're not gonna let any goals slip in.
Yeah.
Can I drop my personal disappointment as well?
Go on then.
I mean, I'm not going to say any
Anthony?
United players. No, Anthony's legend. He performed peak. You know.
Go on then.
I mean, that's the best he ever did.
Who's disappointing?
Odegaard.
Really?
That's a good shout. That's a very good shout.
I genuinely think there's a massive hoo-ha about his greatness, and it's all everything. Like, yeah, he has great moments, right? But has he consistently? To me, I don't see it consistently. Him being a leader of that team and carrying that team. We've just spoken about Van Dijk making others better, right? How Odegaard? I don't think Odegaard does that. Like, he doesn't make people around him better. I think he's a lovely player. Don't get me wrong. He is wonderful to watch and all that crap. He's not where the hype is or where I feel he can be or should be. Not that I'm an expert, but do you get what I mean?
I wasn't going to say Odegaard, but you saying that, it does make sense because he came back in and all Arsenal fans were like, look, watch us create now. And it just didn't. It never really happened. And there seems to be this reliance on him. They pass the ball to him a lot. Against Newcastle, he was overhitting crosses. He missed that sitter that was at 0-0. That would have made it 1-0. And I think that's been a theme for his season. He's had nearly moments, but he's not quite. Odegaard last season at times, you'd watch him and he'd be so graceful on the ball. He'd be threading passes through. I'm just not sure I've seen that from him this season. I rate him as a great player.
No, he has done it, but just not as consistent and frequently as you saw last.
Well, and there you go. That's a disappointment because if you're going for the title, you've got to do that. And I'm going to be nostalgic and cheesy. And I can't stand John Terry, right? But when John Terry's in that team, he pulled everyone with him. Let me go Liverpool. I'm not mentioning United because it's obvious Keno. But Gerrard, you guys won European Cups. It's basically him dragging the rest of you through that. And when you're chasing these trophies, you need that one person, that captain. I'm not saying Chelsea had a bad team, but amongst all these, Terry wasn't the most talented. But my God, he was a leader there and he could pull them through. Odegaard, he's got the talent. At times this season, it's like they've cried out for that leader just to drag them over the line
Yeah.
when they're drawing games that they should be
Yeah.
winning.
I'm going to ask a question then.
And
Who would you
giving
have
a
as a leader?
bollock in.
Who would you
Eh?
have as a leader at Arsenal?
Well, that
Don't
could be
know.
one of the issues. That could be one of the issues why they're at the minute a nearly team and not a championship winning
Yeah.
team. You know, I mean, as Cooley said, you look at these big teams that win titles. They have big personas. They have big characters. Arsenal may be lacking a little bit of that. Do they not have those big characters? You say Gabriel has a little bit of that in him, I think, but nowhere near to the degree that you've seen in the great teams of
Nothing
past.
stands out, right? The point
Yeah.
is, they've either got it or they haven't. I know you're
Yeah.
saying he might have a little bit, but that might as well not be there.
Yeah.
It's got to stand out where you look at the guy. Like, I can't stand Van Dijk, but Liverpool look at Van Dijk and they're like, that's the guy.
He calms them down when he needs
Calm
to,
them
and he
down.
can get them going when he needs to.
Saliba?
Exactly.
Saliba?
Not the same for me, I don't think.
Not same gravy at all. Talent, incredible. But leadership, like making other people better, no.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I think that's where they're going to fall
on to
over again.
another question then. What's been your surprise in the Premier League so far? And I'll probably go. For me, kicking off early is Liverpool being top, but at the same time losing to Nottingham Forest at home. Both of them are a surprise. We were never there to be competing this season. It was always, let him on his thought. It was always meant to be at the beginning of the season. It was still everyone's Man City, Arsenal, right?
I think Liverpool fans kidded themselves with that.
I would say that's fair. I'd say that's fair. How many people said Liverpool first place this season? How many pundits? How many people that predicted?
They still had a great squad. They still had a great squad, right?
But
nothing
they're
changed.
Overachieving.
I'd agree. But are they overachieving, or are Man City underachieving?
Yeah, but you
can't go beyond a 12-match run without a win, or one draw in 12, or something like whatever. Come on, Man City.
Well, look, Man City, you can see week in, week out, Man City aren't the team they were. But no, I think people would have said the team that's going to step up, which is why Arsenal fans giving all this hysteria. Piers saying we don't have to win the title. If City dropped off, this was your title, and totally. It's disappointing about Arsenal. They haven't taken that, but they've not grabbed it by the scruff of the neck. But they've let Liverpool slip in.
It goes back to the leadership then.
Yeah.
Going back to.
But the other thing is, Liverpool have been there before. Most of these players have been there before, right? And for all the talk of 90-odd points, they've got 90-plus points before. Arsenal, again, Piers saying, we don't. He's changed it now. Finishing second is great.
Yeah.
Is it? No, it ain't.
Start of the season, he said, "This is our year."
It's Arsenal.
Now he's backtracking, of course.
Because of the injury and everything. Yeah. But I can't believe all the clubs. There's something that's happened. Was it the World Cup or whatever? All the clubs, or Euros, whatever. All the clubs have had a lot of injuries. But for me, the biggest positive surprise, I guess, will be Liverpool. Not positive for me. I can't stand them. I hope they lose every game remaining. But Liverpool. But City, obviously United is a huge surprise where they are, but maybe not to outsiders, but with my biased insider eyes. But City having conceded more goals than United. The whole thing about Pep was his system, the way he plays, that he just brings players in. The great thing about Pep is you could slot people in and it still worked the same. And it hasn't. So he's a fraud and he's bold and he should get sacked. Now, joking aside, but the downfall of City is huge.
It is a big surprise. Yeah.
We haven't even mentioned Forest, right?
That was going to be mine. I was going to say, whilst Liverpool's a surprise, top of the table, City are a surprise dropping off. People had Forest going down this season, and they're third place, and they're good. They're good for it. I mean, they look good for it.
If you look at their squad and who they've bought and how they've drilled together, it is incredible.
Yeah. And you definitely wouldn't have looked at that squad start of the season and said, that's a team that's going to compete for top four. No chance. So I think in terms of a surprise.
If they got top half, it would have been an amazing season.
Exactly.
Amazing season.
Yeah. And look, they might not get top four, but the fact they're
I was going to say,
competing there
do
still,
you think they'll finish top four?
I don't.
I think it'd
hope
be tough.
so. I hope they do, because up until now, like I think the league, you finish where you deserve, right? I never think that. I think the league never lies, but I hope they do. They do deserve it at the moment, but come the end season, you don't know. It's just if they run out of batteries, right? I think that's what it is. They've got a way of playing. It's hard work the way they play. They virtually play like the way Leicester was like. Have the ball, come on. We're just going to wait for you to make it.
They do.
We're going to wait for you to make that one mistake, and we're going to punish it. And when teams make the mistake, they are bang on it. They're
They've got two wingers who will drive at defenders, putting crosses. They've got Chris Wood in the box. They've got Morgan Gibbs-White, who's a pretty solid midfielder. They've got a solid back four, and look, it's kind of refreshing to see that old school way of playing, as opposed to tick-attack and non-stop. Direct football has been something that teams have shied away from, even the lower teams, where you think that's what you should do. You don't have the players to play out the fact they still try and do it.
But strengths, right?
Forest is showing, just play to your strengths. We don't have to play like Man City. Okay, they're the best team, but we're not going to be the best team. Let's accept that. But let's just be really good at what we can do, and let's focus on that instead of trying to pretend we're some sort of tick-attacker team that we're not.
And actually, their matches are exciting to watch.
Yeah,
I enjoy their games because as soon as a move breaks down and the way they spring out, it's amazing.
And that's exactly what it was. Their 7-0 win, they only had 35% possession.
Yeah.
Right? It's incredible and fair play to them. But who would be if you're going to have Liverpool, Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, who's the fourth place for that top four?
I think Chelsea are in a funny spot at the moment. It just depends how long their funny spot lasts, right? Newcastle, I know they made top four a couple of years ago, but they always flatter to deceive. I think City will do it, but I'd like somebody like Bournemouth or Villa to get back in. I'd really like somebody like Villa getting back in. I think I'm from the Midlands, so it'd be great for the Midlands, right? But somebody like Bournemouth, if other teams are just creeping in, like just making it better, I think it makes the league better.
Is there any team from down low?
That's a fourth. It's a push too far.
No. I think the clawback. What we've done is we've like sort of Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2 hanging off the cliff, right? We're now jumping to another one,
right?
And we won the League Cup. We won the FA Cup. Now this year we go and win the Europa League.
Yeah.
And then we're in the Champions League.
And what happens then?
And then we're there. We're at the big boys table again.
Do you win it?
What? Champs next year?
Yeah.
No.
Do you win Europa?
I'd like to think what I'll say is we're a cup side. Unfortunately, like we can have the odd, I won't even say good game. We can pull out the odd good result.
You can. So you have shown that.
So even when we play shit, we can win, which is a talent.
You have luck on your side in the big games a lot of the time.
So I'm thinking if we can, and it's based on absolute zero, right? Nothing that I've seen justifies it's hope. But I look at the Europa League and we could do it. We could. But you don't know. It's a long way.
On that note,
we could also get knocked out next round.
Thank you very much, Quilly.